Good morning. My name is Emmy North and I am a writer. This is my book, and I also recently received a neurodiversity diagnosis, particularly ADHD, and today I'm going to be talking about it a lot. So first of all, I still gotta mention that my diagnosis was not typical. Like, a lot of people actually get diagnosed later in years because I think in 90s and whatnot, researching and looking for ADHD and autism wasn't very common. But I think the biggest things to mention that I started researching ADHD only recently, so I'm still kind of understanding it a bit more. But my link was through the burnout and fibromyalgia, really, because I had so much physical restrictions. Burnout was like constantly coming every few months, and then I had to like drop everything, and everything felt like just like a constant chase. And it just felt unreal because I'm kind of felt like I'm doing a lot of right things. I'm actually engaging in a lot of different supports and nowhere to like no wiggle room. So yeah, so that's why I went for an assessment and got the diagnosis. Now today actually I want to talk about routines and medication because I started medication. I'm only on the second week of it, but it was actually such a good experience so far because it's fixed a lot of different struggles that I'm struggling with, which first of all, burnout and fibromyalgia symptoms, which is basically a muscle pain syndrome, let's say, which is not very understood. Um, so it really helped me with pain and fatigue and also sticking to a single task and not necessarily getting like it's like a filter to distractions. It felt like it filters a lot of external distractions, and I'm able to sit down and do something a bit better, and I'm a bit calmer at the same time. So all those distractions that could be giving me anxiety are kind of filtered. So even anxiety level itself can be much like better. There is things that it doesn't work for me, which were very important to tackle. And first of all, I haven't not figured out if it works for my writing at all, because in the first instance, the filter felt very strong the first days I used it. Like it was like way too focused, more like editing brain rather than imaginative writer's brain, which is great because I have so many editing projects right now. Um, I hope it helps for anyone who struggles with similar things and thinking about it. But then again, I haven't figured out my routines yet, and I haven't figured out where to put writing in yet because I've been really figuring out my own health and how it affects me. And I immediately went to the most difficult tasks like taxes and like sorting my paperwork to figure out how this medication worked, basically. So, all the dreadful things. So haven't really left a lot of time for creativity this month. So really wanted to tackle that today and give some love for my writing. So today I started one of these very cozy ADHD like days for me and trying to find my routine and sort of what could work. Exercise is really hard to keep, and I feel like some of you will believe this because it's a chore. And we got a treadmill so I can walk on it and do something else while walking on it because I get bored. I get bored of like even the exercise routines. I used to do some of those as well, but I would always need to like mix up something. Obviously with fibro symptoms it just goes harder because a lot of fibro symptoms just getting worse. Sometimes the trigger is exercise. One of the things before I started meds that I noticed in the morning, I usually tend to drink coffee and doom scroll a little bit. I don't tend to doom scroll very long. I usually just do like reading news, quickly go through Instagram while drinking a cup of coffee, half an hour maybe. I realized that doom scrolling was the easiest thing to distract me on a treadmill. So it was the like easiest thing to actually do more minutes For example, TV doesn't work for me. I can't really watch TV. I usually do something else. And even though we put our treadmill in front of TV, it's not how it's gonna work. I need to do something else. I never just watch TV. In the cinemas I get the big popcorn bucket because I just can't sit there calmly for an entire movie. And oh my god, Wicked was way too long. That's why I found that doom scrolling was one of the things that actually managed to keep me on treadmill a bit longer without wondering about time or getting extremely bored. So today I keep talking too much about it. I want to share my experience without you feeling too overwhelmed with it. So other thing, I put on this t-shirt that I got in Singapore from Hello Kitty shop, and it's a Hello Kitty writer, and I'm very comfy with like also the trousers that are like were one of the part of like a with a curtain from the wedding we attended, and I thought I am gonna keep those because we feel very comfy like PJs at home. So here we go. I'm wearing a very comfy outfit that is really not restricting, has very fun colors and concept, and I think today is gonna be just a home writing day. I always have a journal, and the best thing that would work for me, even if it's just short verse, would be like keeping like a little trackers. I honestly was really slumping on them. But yeah, here's the writing, very good writing one for apparently because that first line is all writing. Basically, would say all the little things I want to do, like writing, reading, social, whatever. Um, I will try to block in the big groups and don't actually put everything in there. I think sometimes I don't put chores in there, but actually it takes a lot of time. Um, and then do another graph for seeing which days I did what, basically, which actually helps to see which areas are slumping. So this particular month was actually nothing was done in the drawing section, so I didn't do any like visual arts in that time, but I did a lot of writing, which was great. I tried so many different mechanisms of journaling. I tried the gamifying, even though I always say to gamify everything, for me the least. It was frustrating me, like assigning like almost like people do stats or things like that and little rewards. I think I was never getting to the rewards. It was really frustrating. I barely pulled a month of it trying to see how it works. That's my personal experience. Today's plan is to do some writing. I'm currently editing project Occult Cafe, which basically is in the first draft, but it feels like the draft is much more crafted than some other early drafts that I do. So I feel like if I finish this draft with all the changes in the plot and plot holes that I want to fill, and I'm happy with it, I might be able to look at alpha readers. I spun out so far that I made a timeline of goals that I should be doing for the time to reach the to make it ready for things like Kickstarter or like sharing in a wider audience. Which is one of the ridiculous things I do. I sometimes do these like daydreamy projects. And then I realized that even if I do it time to time, like month by month, in a very correct, strict planning, it will take me about 2 years to get it into production. And then, actually, speaking about this book I wrote so many years ago now. It took about, I think, looking at the old emails, it took about 2 years in production actually to actually become a book of this gorge, really. So to be that pretty and that readable and like priceable, accessible. Sorry for talking about it too much, but its anniversary is coming soon, so it's called Cookie in the Sprite Garden. This is where my writing is unmedicated. Go have a look.
Belt with this. Oh, this looks cute! Yay! Okay, so this belt is from Simple Retro. It does hang out.
Right, so I finished writing today. I think it's enough of writing, even though I had a very slow day and more unfocused day than I thought I will do. But I think it's because I actually running down with some kind of viral illness, and you can hear it on my throat. So like my patience levels are still not quite there today. So I actually managed to edit. So I'm about in Act 2, I believe, right before Act 3. So I'm almost finished Act 2. What I want to say is that I did about 700 words of editing, which in the editing world for me is actually really good progress. I was looking into like doing like 4 chapters or something very unrealistic today, which I think I only focused on like 2 or like even less than that. But then 700 words of editing in that time, in that sort of section, usually means really good for me, because editing sometimes, if you really feel not feeling like it, you might be able only changing very small words, also deleting words. So actually growing something by 700 words is actually a very good goal of a day for editing sections. I'm pretty happy with that. I know that if I keep with this sort of pace, I will still be in my sort of predicted target. So yeah, so this is where I'm gonna stop today. But thank you for joining me and listening, me talking and talking about things. I hope to make it I hope to edit it so it's not too bad, but see you next time.